How's it going, everyone? I'm Lance with the Living in Sacramento team, and in this video, we're going to be diving full in-depth map tour of the greater Sacramento metro. So we're going to dive deep. We're going to give you a full rundown of each of the areas, what's nearby, and I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know as it comes to living in Sacramento, California. Now, we're going to start off with some general areas, and the whole goal of this video is I'm going to discuss a lot of these suburbs that people are choosing, go through some of the master plan communities that are located in some of these areas where the new construction is happening. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to rule out about 90% of the areas that you would never want to live in. All right, so jumping right into the map, the first thing that I want to cover as we start breaking this down, you can see the red line that's going to border the city limits of Sacramento. You've got the International Airport up here. So as we're looking at Sacramento, you're going to have Sacramento city limits, and then you're also going to have downtown Sacramento, which is going to be bordered by Interstate 5 on the west side. You're going to have Interstate 50 on the south side, Interstate 80 coming up here on the east side, and it's going to be bordered by the American River. Now, out of all the families that we've helped move or relocate to the greater Sacramento metro, I think we've maybe only had one or two people that have actually decided to live in downtown Sacramento or the Midtown area, East Sac, Land Park. Now, outside of that, where people are deciding to move is they're moving out here towards some of the suburbs. So you're gonna have everything that's going to be inside of the city limits of Sacramento, but you're also gonna have Sacramento County, and you're gonna have a lot of the neighboring counties, which are gonna be Placer County and El Dorado County, where people are going to be moving into those suburb areas of Sacramento. Now, the next thing that I want to cover is really how you're going to get around and where some of the major freeways are. But like we were showing you, one of the main hubs is going to be the Sacramento International Airport. Everybody who flies in or comes into Sacramento from out of state, they're going to be flying into the Sacramento International Airport. There is an executive airport that's going to be down here to the south. That's going to be primarily personal or private planes if you're trying to get your pilot's license, but you're going to have those two main airports and everything is going to come into there. Now, if you're driving into town, you're going to have some major freeways. We've covered these before, but north and south, you're going to have Interstate 5 that's going to run on the western side of Sacramento. It's going to parallel the Sacramento River, and that's going to go north up towards Yuba City, Chico, Redding, Northern California. It's also going to go south into the Central Valley, which is going to be like Stockton, Manteca, Lodi, Galt, and you're going to pass through Elk Grove and South Sacramento before you get into downtown Sacramento. Now, on the other side, on the eastern side of Sacramento, you're going to have Interstate 99, and that's also going to run north and south. That's going to connect into Interstate 80 as you're going east towards North Lake Tahoe, and that's going to also come from Central Valley area, which is going to be, you know, Stockton, Manteca, Galt. You're going to pass through Elk Grove, and you're going to hit the eastern side of Sacramento. Now, going from east to west, you have Highway 16 that comes from the Davis area, comes past Interstate 5, and it merges, and it's going to go right in front of the Sacramento International Airport. You're going to have Interstate 80, which is going to come up from San Francisco. It's going to run through Davis into Sacramento, and then you're going to kind of merge. And then you have Interstate 50, which is going to take you east up towards South Lake Tahoe, which is going to be where you're going to have some ski resorts. You're going to have some of the, casinos. You're going to have a little bit more, hustle and bustle that happens on the south side of Lake Tahoe. And then you're going to have this other freeway that's going to be Highway 16, which is going to take you out towards the foothills, Amador County, and it's going to take you out into Rancho Murrieta, which we're going to be doing a video of some new home constructions out there pretty soon, so stay tuned on that. So as you can see here, one of the things that Sacramento is missing as of right now is we don't really have kind of a loop or a beltway loop that takes you from one side of the city to the other, which would be nice. So right now you've got to either kind of bounce around some of these freeways or you have to get around. So one of the things we want to make sure that you're aware of, or being super specific, is we want to make sure that, wherever you're deciding to live, we're factoring in lifestyle, we're also factoring in commuting. So, if you're living down on the, south side of Sacramento in the Laguna, Elk Grove area, or even in the Pocket area, what does that look like if you have to work at maybe the airport, or if you have to work up by Interstate 5. So those are going to be really important things that we're going to want to factor in as it relates to making sure that we're being focused on the area, how you get around, and what everything looks like from there. Now, the main thing that you're really going to want to focus on is how you're going to get around, what you're going to need to do, and what you're going to need to be close to now. So now that we know kind of where all these arteries as it relates to freeways are going to be, some of this is going to be super important. So you're going to have towns that are going to be off of these freeways, and then you're going to have towns that are going to be a little bit more inland that we've spoken about, right? So you're going to have, things like the Elk Grove area, which is going to be down towards the south. You're going to have the Pocket. You're going to have, You know, everybody wants to think about Folsom, and here's the biggest thing. You're definitely gonna wanna stick around to the very end, because I'm gonna also tell you why some people really think about Folsom in the beginning, but there's also a lot of people that don't wanna live in Folsom, and I'm gonna explain why people aren't moving to Folsom and maybe some of those other options. You're gonna have Granite Bay out here by the lake. We're gonna jump into a different map here in a second, and we're gonna start talking about some of the other areas that are gonna be in Placer County that you can't see from this map. And then you're gonna have like areas like Natomas and even some of the other areas that are gonna be a little bit further north. So from this map, I'm gonna have to get a little bit tighter, so we're gonna have to jump in from the other map. So jumping right into it, the first thing that I want to cover is kind of where some of your pockets are that are going to be new construction of where we're seeing. So I'm going to first go around the clock, and we're going to start talking about some of the main areas of where we're seeing some of these new master plan communities popping up, where we're seeing some opportunity for some new construction, because those tend to be right now some of the best incentives. And then beyond that, we're going to start jumping into some of these must-see suburbs that a lot of people are choosing. So again, if you have any questions specifically about any of these areas or what your goals are, that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, or better yet, schedule that private one-on-one Zoom consultation, so that way we can go over your goals and figure out which one of these areas is going to be best for you and your family. So first, we're going to start off going south, and then we're going to come around the clock, and we're going to talk about all the different areas for new construction developments. And then beyond there, we're going to jump into some of those areas. So, you know, Sacramento, or the Central Valley of California, is known for having a lot of agriculture, a lot of farmland, and a lot of open spaces. So as you can see, Sacramento city limits, even Sacramento County, if we zoom out a little bit further, but then you're going to have all these green spaces in between some of your towns, between Sacramento and Davis, Davis to Vacaville. So some of these areas are going to have these wide open spaces in between different cities. So that's where we're tending to see a lot of different pockets that are some of these farmlands or some of these agricultural lands are being picked up, and then builders are putting these massive communities, or even some builders are just kind of picking up as they can find whatever they can find, and they're just throwing up communities. So in the south, Elk Grove is going to be one of the furthest south areas that we've covered on this channel a lot. It's one of the areas that you guys tend to love a lot. And down here, so once you get beyond Elk Grove and the Sheldon and Wilton area, you're going to see a lot of this green. And so we're seeing a lot of new construction happening in the south part of Elk Grove, in between Elk Grove and Galt. So all this stuff is starting to get developed. So you're going to have the brand new Sky River Casino that's going to be out here. You're going to be close to the Elk Grove Regional Park. You've got a couple of different golf courses down there. You've got a couple of our favorite communities. You've got Laguna West. Now, you're not seeing too much being built on the west side of I-5. You have a lot of different nature preserves, wildlife refuges, and you have potential of dealing with, you know, any kind of flooding issues, but really kind of in between Interstate 5, Interstate 99, and even some of this stuff going out Grant Line Road towards Rancho Cordova, which will be the next community that we'll cover. You're starting to see a lot of new home communities in that south part of Elk Grove. So people who tend to move to Elk Grove like it because proximity-wise, you can still get a new construction home. This is probably going to be one of the closer areas as relates to commuting into downtown Sacramento. And you have a lot of just different amenities that are going to be within the town of Elk Grove. Elk Grove is going to be the second largest city behind Sacramento as it relates to population and square miles. So moving over here to the right, you're going to have this area of Rancho Cordova that's going to be in between Highway 16 and Interstate 50. So really you have Sunrise Boulevard that's going to run from Fair Oaks all the way across 50, and it's going to come all the way down here. Anatolia was a community that was built in 2008 on the corner of Sunrise and Douglas in Rancho. They put in a nice little shopping center down here. It's still being developed. You're going to have an old military airport that's going to be out here. That's now used for just kind of commercial airlines or shipping airlines. But you're gonna have a lot of new construction that's gonna be in the Rancho Cordova area, that's gonna be on the eastern side of Sunrise Boulevard, south of Douglas, and it's gonna be kind of pocketed in between Grant Line Road. So this is another up and coming community. We've seen some master plan communities. Cahoe-Nanian's got a brand new one coming out there called The Ranch, where they have 5 or 6 different communities. They've got a lot of really good incentives out there right now. And then moving up around the clock, we're going to come over here to Folsom. So south of 50 in Folsom, and even south of 50 in El Dorado Hills, you're going to see a lot of new construction that's going to be coming up around here as well. So Folsom Ranch is a master plan community. They're going to have over, I think, 5,000 or 10,000 homes out here. They're building the shopping construction right now, and the roads are a little bit kind of wonky. But basically, new construction in Folsom is going to be south of Highway 50, north of White Rock Road. You have an active adult or 55 and better community out here. You have some other 55 and up communities out here as well. And you're gonna have this big shopping center. South Folsom Ranch is going to have a brand new high school, a brand new middle school. They already have a brand new elementary school out there. But this is going to be another one of those main areas that's going to have some new construction. Now, jumping all the way over, you're going to have stuff that's going to be in Placer County. Now, again, most of where we're seeing a lot of the new construction communities happening is going to be kind of on the outskirts of some of these cities. So Folsom is going to be on the south of 50. A lot of the shopping and a lot of the amenities right now for the time being are going to be on the north side of 50, right? Same thing in West Roseville. So West Roseville, West Park, you've got Winding Creek up here to the north, and you've got Sierra Vista down here to the south. All of the construction community pretty much is going to be west of this Fittyment Road, north of Baseline, up until you get to about South Brewer. So all this open space right here, it just keeps moving over and over as it gets closer to 99. So if you're in West Roseville, there are some good back ways down Baseline if you want to get to Highway 99 and come down here. If you got to make it out to the airport, that's the way we go. Or if you got to go into downtown Sacramento for any kind of business work. Then one of the last areas before we jump into some of these individual communities, you're going to have some new construction that's going to be happening over here in Rockland. And then you're also going to have some new construction out here that's going to be kind of in between Lincoln and Wheatland, which is another community where you're seeing a lot of just new construction builders trying to figure out wherever they have open spots that are within a reasonable distance to amenities like shopping, grocery stores, malls, things like that. And then the last one that I want to just kind of point out before we jump into some of these communities is going to be Plumas Lake. Now on a map, this one looks like it's really far away. It's going to be down Highway 70, which is going to connect to the 99 and bring you into Sacramento. Now, if we use Apple Maps or Google Maps to, time that distance from Plumas Lake down to Sacramento, it's only about a 30-minute drive. And this is going to be another one of those communities that is up and coming. These are those communities that we showcased a couple weeks back where you can find brand new homes, brand new construction homes in the low 400s. And some of these are actually going to be on pretty large lots. So smaller community, they still lack some of the amenities as it relates to like grocery stores right now, but it's coming within like probably the next 2 years. They're going to have grocery stores, school districts are going to be built out. They're building out a new junior high and then the high school. So all of that stuff's coming. Everything kind of got put on hold as it relates to what happened in 2008. So let's back out here real quick and start going into some of these other communities. Now we put a lot of time and a lot of effort into a lot of these videos. So if you could comment down below, either, hey, this stuff is really helping, we really appreciate it, or no, we're annoying, stop, go away, we don't want to hear from you anymore. Like Lauren and I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into some of these videos. So we definitely want to, give you more of what you guys are looking for. So comment down below, let us know what you guys want to see more of. But now we're going to start diving into some of these other communities as it relates to just really where some of the things are located, how those cities are laid out, and really from one of these areas. So we're going to continue to stick with some of these new construction themes because that tends to be really popular with a lot of you guys. But the cool thing is there's awesome places all around the greater Sacramento metro, and it really kind of just comes down to scheduling a weekend trip, getting here, getting a vibe and getting a feel of where you guys want to live, where you guys want to be close to, and some of those things. So Elk Grove tends to be a really popular area, and the reason why is from Elk Grove, you're going to be relatively about a 10 to 25 minute drive to downtown Sacramento, which is nice. So you're going to be in a suburb, but you're still relatively quick, and you're going to have a little bit easier access if you're coming, let's say, from the Bay Area and you've got to make it back over to the East Bay or Oakland or San Francisco for whatever reason. Coming down the 5 and cutting in some of the back roads may save you some time. So jumping down here to the south, the first one that we're going to cover is going to be Elk Grove. Now Elk Grove is going to be a large city. It tends to be one of the top 3 or 4 areas that we get a lot of people who ask us questions about. And the reason why that is A, you can find a lot of new construction here. B, there's also some highly rated or really great school districts. So the cool thing about Elk Grove Unified School District is that it's all housed under one unified school district across the entire city. So you don't have to deal with, you know, elementary school kids having different breaks in the middle school than different breaks from the high school. Some of the frustrations that we deal with being in Eureka Union and Roseville Joint. But you also have some really awesome communities. So, you know, like I said, down here to the south, you're gonna have Elk Grove Regional Park. This park is going to be one of those awesome mega parks. We featured it in a lot of the other videos. They have an aquatic center there. It's super close to Elk Grove High School, which is the original high school. You've got softball fields. There always seems to be something that's going on down here. You've also got this brand new Sky River Casino that just opened up. So really nice steakhouses there, super nice casino. And then you're going to have different pockets and different master plan communities. So with Elk Grove, you're going to have a little bit of everything. Out here to the east side towards Sheldon and Wilton, you're gonna have some of those ranch rural properties. So the cool thing about Elk Grove is you're gonna have a lot of different communities out here, and you're gonna have a wide variety of what you can get. So you can have ranch rural properties that are gonna be out here towards Wilton. You can get a little bit of land. You're still relatively close to town, relatively close to some amenities, but you're also gonna have some really awesome communities that are gonna be like Laguna West and Lakeside. You're gonna have the Stone Lake community that's gonna be down over here as well. You've got a Costco, movie theater, and you're gonna have some really nice homes that are gonna be right here around the golf course. Now the average price home in Elk Grove can go anywhere from the low to mid 400s, and it can go north of $1 million just depending on what you're looking for and what you're wanting. And then like I said at the beginning of this video, there's also a lot of new construction that's happening on the south side of Elk Grove. So a lot of different options depending on what you're looking for, but Elk Grove tends to be one of the hottest areas that people are coming to. Now I want to say they have 4 or 5 different high schools, and they have a ton of different elementary and a ton of different middle schools. Depending on where you're living at, there's a pretty good chance that most of these schools are going to be above the state average or going to be a 7, 8, or a 9. So a couple of the resources that we recommend you guys using. So since we can't steer you in any which direction, a lot of people will go to Redfin, or they'll go to greatschools.org, or they'll go to niche.com, and they can get a lot of that school rating and information. Now, one thing I will say, you know, about any of these areas is they're all going to be highly rated, but don't allow yourself to be pigeonholed by one area or another just because maybe the school rating in one area of part of town may not be as good. Just keep that in mind. Some of these schools go through waves. We saw a lot of school ratings drop out coming out of the pandemic, but a lot of these schools are still going to have really good teachers, and a lot of it's going to come down to your interaction with your student at that point. Now jumping back over here to Rancho. Now Rancho Cordova is going to be a bigger area. It's not an area that we've covered a lot on this channel, but you're going to have pretty much everything that's going to be south of the American River. It's going to come over here to kind of that Mather Airport, and it's going to come all the way out to all this new construction. So Rancho Cordova has definitely grown. You know, some of these areas over here in that Anatolia Village or that South Rancho Cordova area, they're actually going to be a part of some of the Elk Grove Unified School Districts. And then you're also going to have stuff that's going to be north of 50. So you're going to have a lot of different things that are going to be available to you as it relates to amenities. So Sunrise Boulevard is going to be one of the main roadways that's going to run through Rancho Cordova that's going to take you down here to South Rancho Cordova. You're going to have a lot of like industrial that's going to be out here as well too, kind of near the airport. So a lot of this stuff is, you know, not going to be developed. You have a Costco that's going to be out here as well. But one of my favorite things to do when I was younger, when we lived in Fair Oaks, was there's a rafting place that's right here where you hop on at Sunrise Boulevard and you can kind of float down the American River. Takes you down, they pick you up, they bus you back. So that's always super fun. There's a bike trail that takes you all the way down the American River down into Sacramento. So if you like to bike or even run, you can run on that trail as well too. And then the cool thing about Rancho Cordova and kind of that Gold River area, which we have featured on this channel before, is you are very centrally located or close to a freeway. So from any part of Rancho Cordova, it's probably going to be about a 5 to 10 minute drive to get back to the freeway. And then from there, it's probably going to be about a 20 to 25 minute drive into downtown Sacramento. So this is another one of those areas that's really good. And then down here, you're going to have builders like Hovnanian, you're going to have Lennar, you're going to have Woodside, Pulte, Cressley. There's going to be several different builders that are going to be down here in that South Rancho area. Some are offering really good incentives right now, some are not. And we just have to figure out what you're looking for at the time that you're looking for it and what kind of incentives. But as we start to see some of those builders have on some of this inventory going into the holiday season, that may be one thing that you may want to consider. Now jumping over here to the third area is going to be Folsom. Now Folsom tends to be one of the most popular areas that we get questions about. That kind of parallels with Elk Grove. Now, usually most of the time when we're getting phone calls from you guys, it's usually either about Folsom, new construction in Folsom, new construction in Elk Grove, or any of the resale houses in either of these two areas. But because Folsom tends to be one of the more popular areas as it relates to school districts, there's also a lot of employers in Folsom that call Folsom home. So you have, Intel, you have Kikkoman, you have CDCR for the state of California. There's a lot of different employers who have put their headquarters in Folsom. So with that being said, usually we see the prices tend to be a little bit higher in Folsom. On the south side of 50, in between, Highway 50, north of White Rock, all the way up to about Latrobe is kind of where we're seeing that Folsom Ranch, Russell Ranch area. Now, in comparison to some other parts of Folsom, this area of new construction is actually still really affordable. Right now, the construction has made it a little bit of a headache right now, but all of this is gonna get worked out in the next year or so. They're building a brand new middle school and a brand new high school. They've already got the elementary to service the kids out here. Everybody who's at middle school or high school age right now is going to Vista del Lago, which is just on the north side of 50. Now, the cool thing about Folsom and the cool thing about this area is a lot of people tend to want to move to Folsom because of kind of the nature and some of the natural amenities that are provided to Folsom. So you've got Folsom Lake up here to the north. Really anybody from Placer County, Sac County, El Dorado County, like this is that main lake that everybody likes to go to. There's an entrance here in El Dorado Hills. There's two entrances off of Granite Bay. One is a beach entrance and one is a boat entrance. So, if you want to take your boat out here to Folsom Lake, you're going to go off of Douglas. If you just want to go hang out at the beach, take the family, you're going to go off of Beals Point. A lot of people like to move to Folsom because of the outdoor recreation. We've also talked about Lake Natoma before. This is a really fun area because you can take paddle boards, you can take kayaks, you can kind of chill. There's not too much opportunity where you can take a boat out there and you can just kind of chill. It goes up here and then you've got a dam down here by Hazel Avenue that then turns it into the American River. The other thing about Folsom, as you can see, is you got, it's all self-contained, very similar to Elk Grove, very similar to Roseville. You've got hospitals out here, you've got, tons of different shopping, you've got the outlets that are going to be down here towards the south side of Folsom. You've also got the Palladio that's going to be over here off of East Bidwell. And then you've got downtown or the Old Town Folsom area, which is going to have a ton of awesome shops, a lot of fun restaurants, a lot of fun bars. So Folsom is still one of those areas. Now, the more inland of Folsom that you get, obviously it's going to take you a little bit longer to get back down to a freeway. So depending on where you decide to live in Folsom, some of these areas are going to take you a little bit longer to get to a freeway, and it's going to be a little bit longer to get to downtown if you have to commute down there. But if you're going to be down here in kind of like this East Bidwell, Broadstone, Empire Ranch area, or even in this Russell Ranch or Folsom Ranch area south of Highway 50, it should take you about 5 or maybe 10 minutes in the morning or afternoon to get to the freeway, and then you're going to be right down to downtown Sacramento. The cool thing is about being in Folsom is on the closer side if you want to go up to the foothills. So you've got Placerville up here, and we're starting to see a lot more people that are starting to branch out and go a little bit farther because Folsom tends to be one of the more expensive areas. We're starting to see people come up to El Dorado Hills, see people come up to Cameron Park, Shingle Springs. Even some people are going all the way up to Placerville just to kind of get that mountain feeling. So just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But anything along this 50 corridor, the further that you get up Highway 50 into the foothills, you're going to be dealing with a little bit more nature, a little bit more, hiking trails, outdoor things like that as well. Now, jumping over to one of the last areas. Now, we're just highlighting a few. The next biggest or the third largest city as it relates to behind Elk Grove and Sacramento is going to be Roseville. Now, Roseville has a lot of opportunity to expand, but as you can see, Roseville is going to kind of border Antelope, certain parts of Citrus Heights, and Orangevale in Sacramento County, and Roseville is going to be the first area as it relates to Placer County. It's going to be the first city that you hit as you're entering into Placer County going up Highway 80 towards North Lake Tahoe. We've covered Roseville on a couple of videos before too. You're going to have an East Roseville that's going to be everything east of Highway 80. You're gonna have a Central Roseville, which is gonna be primarily where a lot of the amenities, the shopping, the Galleria Mall, the Costco, the fountains, couple of golf courses that are gonna be located in Roseville as well too. And then going back out here to West Roseville. Now West Roseville is gonna be where all the new construction is gonna be at. Now some of these areas of West Roseville are gonna be obviously a little bit farther from Interstate 65, which is then gonna connect you to Highway 80. but you're gonna have Blue Oaks here, you're gonna have Pleasant Grove down here, and then you have Baseline. What a lot of people tend to do if you have to work in downtown Sacramento is they'll come down Fitty Mint Road to Baseline, and then they'll take a back road that'll come all the way out here to Highway 99. So this is a really good way, or a really easy way to get to the Sacramento International Airport. This is also a really easy way to get into downtown Sacramento, coming in the backside over by Golden 1 along the Sacramento River. So it really kind of just depends on, you know, what you're looking for. But Roseville is going to have a lot of different amenities. So in comparison to Elk Grove, it's going to be a little bit smaller in size, but in my opinion, you're going to have a little bit more of your amenities. So a lot of people tend to move to Roseville because you're really close to shopping. There's a lot of pluses. There's a lot of golf courses in Roseville. There's a lot of like different things that you can do. There's Roseville Golf Line Sunsplash that's going to be here on the corner of Taylor Road and Interstate 80. You're going to have a Whole Foods. You're going to have a Galleria. You're going to have the fountains. And then you're probably going to have 4 or 5 different golf courses. You're going to have a ton of different parks, mega parks, small parks. Neighborhoods are going to be built around some different type of park. And then you're going to have that old town, downtown Roseville kind of feel. So now depending on what part of Roseville that you're living in, West Roseville, Central Roseville, or East Roseville, the commuting time can be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get back to a freeway. So if you're on the borderline of East Roseville and you got to come all the way down Douglas, probably looking at 15 minutes. Same thing for certain parts of Central Roseville. You can either hop on Highway 65 or you can get back down to Highway 80. Now this section, just to kind of keep in mind, this section of Highway 65, they're working on expanding it right now. We had so much growth happen out here in West Roseville and West Rockland and Lincoln that Highway 65 really just didn't keep up. So they're working on expanding it, but right now there is a bottleneck that happens from Interstate 80, this little road right here, and it goes all the way back up here to Sunset, maybe Blue Oaks, but for the most part, this freeway can get very backed up in the morning. That's why a lot of people from West Roseville, if they have to go down to downtown Sacramento, they'll go all the way out Baseline and they'll cut in the back way of 99. Now, if we move up a little bit further, we do have some new construction out here in Rockland. Rockland tends to be a little bit quieter. Most of your amenities are going to be towards the front side of Rockland, closer to Highway 65, bordering Roseville. But a lot of the different amenities that Rockland has is really going to be south of Sunset. So primarily everything north of Sunset is going to be residential communities, some of the new home construction, Whitney Ranch. Rockland does have 2 different high schools. They have a university out here called William Jessup University. But a lot of the amenities, they do have a bowling alley out here. We have a Top Golf over here, but a lot of their amenities are going to be south of Sunset Boulevard. And then moving up into Lincoln before we head out into Plumas Lake. Now Lincoln is going to be a little self-contained city in its own. You've got 3 different golf courses out there. We've touched on a couple of different active adult communities. You have Sun City Del Webb, you have Esplanade by Turkey Creek. You're also going to have, so you have a new community that's being built out here. You have some Elliott homes that are going to be built out by the Turkey Creek Golf Course. And then you're also going to have some other new construction builders that are going to be out here that south of Nicholas Road, kind of around the Lincoln Regional Airport. So the cool thing about Lincoln, we lived in Lincoln. It's a little bit further out from, you know, there's not really necessarily a back road to get to downtown Sacramento. You can cut back through some of these other roads, Moore Road and Nicholas, all the way out to Highway 99. It's a little bit further, but people tend to come out here. It's an all self-contained city. So you've got an in and out, you've got, you know, 4 or 5 different grocery stores, definitely that smaller town feel. They just built a second high school. But this is where we're also seeing a lot of new construction homes that are happening out here. And then we touched on it, and the last community is going to be out here in Plumas Lake. Now this one's going to feel like it's really far out, and it is a lot farther out than maybe some of these other suburbs, but you're going to find homes, new construction homes, even resale homes that are going to be in the low 400s. You're going to have a newer construction build, so you're going to have things that are going to be built in the early 2000s. Now Plumas Lake for the most part is really going to be only a couple of exits. So it's going to be this first exit towards the front side, and it's going to be the second exit towards the back side. And they're getting ready to build some other amenities, grocery stores, different things like that. It was an up and coming community in 2006, 7, and 8 before the crash happened. So we saw a lot of builders out there, and then we didn't see a lot of things happen for another 10, maybe 15 years. So, you know, we do have a Lennar out here. There's some Cressley homes out there. If you want to see more about those videos right here, you can check out that video there. And that's going to be those brand new construction homes. We touched on a few of them. but there's also going to be some really good options for resale homes out here as well too. So not a ton of amenities. They are getting ready to build a grocery store. They have a couple gas stations out there. Definitely going to be smaller if your budget is tight, but you also want a new construction home that maybe has a little bit more space. Plumas Lake can be another one of those opportunities for you where you get a little bit more lot here. They do have 2 or 3 elementary schools. They have 1 middle school that's getting ready to be built and completed, and the high school will be the next thing after that as they continue to start to get more people coming in. So now the other thing about Plumas Lake is that it's only going to be about a 30 to 40 minute drive. So if you want to go a little bit further out, you want it to be a little bit quieter, but you still have to be down in downtown Sacramento, or you got to be at the Sacramento International Airport. For whatever reason, it's actually not that bad of a drive. So Plumas Lake may look a lot farther on a map, but the drive from Plumas Lake down to Sacramento is really not that bad. It's really only about a 20 or 30 minute drive, depending on traffic, to get you down and back into Sacramento. So I'm telling you right now, it can sometimes feel impossible to feel like you're choosing the right area. Now that you have an idea of some of the areas you may like and some of the places that you may not like, this playlist right here is going to be all of our vlog tours, all of our neighborhood tours, anything to do with new construction. Go ahead, look through this list and see which areas that you want to learn more about. And in the meantime, don't forget to reach out to us to schedule your one-on-one private consultation to figure out which area is going to be the best spot for you.